Hey pals, I'm out here on the Still Creek Trail right off of the Camp Creek campground, and it's up on Mount Hood or Wy'East, and it took me forever to find this trailhead. I used the All Trails app, and people warned hikers that the directions were not to be trusted. So I was prepared to get my super sleuthing on, and it didn't work. Hilariously, it took me right to a trail that I did last year around this time called Flag Mountain. And it's funny how our bodies remember the things that our conscious minds don't. There are books about this, The Body Keeps Score, countless others, that science is now starting to remember how to measure stored trauma, body memory. That's why somatic experiencing and somatic therapy is so incredible and profound, because it helps us access where that's stored and release it. So I'm driving these directions, following them, and my body's like, this is not right. But you've been here before. And so there was this weird kind of homecoming feeling, although I couldn't put my finger on why, as I'm driving down this tiny little gravel road that doesn't have a name. It's just a number, Road 20. And here we go. Interesting. What is this road? This is a whole road, whole vibe here. I don't know what it is, but we're going this way. See what I see. See that? That is a huge old tree. This guy right here, that's the baby that grew out of her stump. You start to get a sense for just like where she stood. This is part of the depression, probably from her root ball. One of the grandmothers for sure, before the loggers came in and took everything. I mean, they're everywhere. See that? And that. The bodies are all over this forest of these thousands of years old trees that when the colonists came, when the loggers came, and they couldn't believe how many trees there were, how big they were. There are these accounts of being able to ride a horse through the forest and reach out and touch one of these huge grandmothers anywhere. And a lot of Western red cedar. I don't know the indigenous name, but I know it was a really critical and vital member of First Nation families. And one of the things about the red cedar, which is so phenomenal, is its imperviousness to rot and how long it lasts. It's antibacterial, it's antiviral. Thuja plicata, I believe, is the biological or botanical name. And you see these stumps that look like just gnarled snags, but they're, oh, nice squirrel. It's a little dark brown, kind of black squirrel. He's really cute. He almost matches the fallen Douglas fir log. You see that? Yeah. You can barely see him because he blends in so well. But when you look at these stumps, it's sad and it's also amazing because these stumps have sat here and just continued to hold their form and hold their shape and nourish the new life around them for hundreds of years. I mean, this level of disintegration does not happen overnight. It takes a really, really long time for these red cedars. And so it's like walking through a valley of ancients, like the burial mounds, you know, in Europe that you see. But these are living burial mounds of this civilization that existed here since time immemorial. Like, this is the heart. This is the heart after hundreds of years. Still there. Still making an impression. And so, there I was at the trailhead of this other trail that I had walked last year at this time, just thinking, that this is not where I'm supposed to be. This is a place. It's a place I've been before. It's a place that is beautiful in its own way and is really hard. It's a hard trail. And I could have done it, but I told myself today I'm not doing the hardest trail. I deliberately avoided Table Mountain in the gorge because I did not want to do the hardest trail today. So Flag Mountain, God bless you, was clearly not the move. Get ready for this. Are you ready? Okay. My face looks huge, but just come with me for some perspective here. All right. Okay, remember how big it looked before? It was like here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, watch this. Oh, what? This thing is like 12 feet tall. Hi, baby. Oh, do you hear her? Do you hear her? She's got, where is she? Oh, she's so cute. Oh, there she is. Can you see her? Right there. She's making a nest. So, it's a lot bigger than it looks on a video screen. Just like being on that trail, going up the trail I'd already been on, as wonderful as it was, right there in front of me, I could have stopped, could have just parked, could have retread those familiar steps. I already knew I was retracing my steps by coming up the mountain. So I was like, I need to do something new this morning. The mountain was calling. But what's new when the mountain is where I've been living most of my life this winter and early spring, skiing? Well, what if I leave my skis at home? And what if I just put on my backpack and see if I can learn a new part of this forest? And so I turned around. Even though I had the sure thing right there, I knew exactly what I was going to find, I knew exactly what kind of effort I would need to expend. And it was like, no, it's not that again. It's not that again. Go find the place that you wanted to come. And it was Still Creek Trail. And so I tried to plug in a new direction from what people were saying in the comments. And I drove up Highway 26 another 3 miles, turned onto Road 30, which for all intents and purposes, according to my other GPS, was going to be the right way. Was it the right way? No, it was not the right way. It was the wrong way, but it was maddeningly close. I could see Still Creek Trailhead on the GPS, but no. And so I was like, okay, ooh, folks, there are trails upon trails upon trails. Look at this. Talk about the Robert Frost moment. What do we hear? I mean, I think I have to take the road less traveled, but okay. But I'm gonna ask first. It goes down. Did you hear how it was quiet back there at the other trail? And it was chatty on this one. But then I started talking and the bird stopped. I think we have to go into the darker, narrower one. I don't want to go down. But I'm so curious. I'm so curious. Okay. I'm gonna follow my curiosity. Those other trails, well, it was like a cross trail. So much wider. Obviously has been used like deliberately for transporting things and moving larger parties. I don't really want to be in the larger party territory. I want to be humble and small in the midst of bigness. This forest feels a lot different. I hear the bird calling me forward. I'm gonna follow it. How does this forest feel? A lot different. There's a lot more Douglas fir trees here. See that? A lot more Dougies. A lot less cedar. The trees are smaller. Ooh, except for this one. Wow. Look, 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 look. What? do some of you survive? Look. Do you see that one? It's right in a line with this big one. And there's another one farther down. It's like there's sentinels, and you know they're connected under the ground with their root systems and with the mycelial networks that help transport all of the minerals and the food, the information really. Here we go. Now we're starting to get into the old primeval forest. Yeah. Look at that. It's her heart. And so I left the trail back to the part of the story where everything was known. And I knew exactly what I was getting into. I was like, no, look at, here's a nursery. Baby nursery. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to say, okay, well, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I was aiming for. But I guess I'm here. Like, I don't have to travel any farther. I don't have to spend any more time or gas or uncertainty. Jesus, look at these. Look at these. Oh, I love you. And so I went on this wrong road that was supposed to be the right road, and I was bumping all over through this bizarre cabin community that was charming, but just not the place. And I was so close, and I could see it on the GPS, and I just thought, you know what? Go back to the road. You to see what I see. I went back to the road, and I pointed my car up the mountain because the mountain had been calling me all day. And so I followed it up another half a mile, and there was the sign to the campground. So I went to the campground. It was closed. I parked my car outside and just felt like exhausted. Ugh. I'm fighting off a cold, or I'm integrating the cold, let's say that, easefully and compassionately. And oh my goodness. Yeah, I got out of the car anyway. It was like, okay, here we are. Let's go find the trailhead. Wandered through this campground, and my GPS was like, yeah, you're kind of wrong. So I just said, okay. Oh, before I got out of the car, I invited a friend to come along with me. This wonderful golden teacher paste that my friend had made, and I welcomed that into my body to assist me on this journey. Just a small little bit to help me reconnect with beauty in the present moment. And wouldn't you know it, found the trailhead, and here we are. Here we are. So I was walking up the trail, and I went to take a picture of myself, to give everyone that sense of wonder. Come out into the outdoors with me. And I was fiddling at an awkward angle, kind of like this. And the backlighting was perfect, so I could really see my skin and just like how I called it slinky. I can see it starting to become. And I've always had these really full cheeks, and people have pinched them forever and just been like, oh my God, you have such a baby face. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that may be true. And also, I've had some time in this body. And I am 44 revolutions around the sun. And my acupuncturist, I think, said something like, well, you're not old, but you're not young. She's this magic acupuncture witch that does not pull any punches. She will just feed it to you straight. She's like, so, we want to keep you juicy as long as possible. Like, yes, I say yes to the juice. And also, I am joven viejo. I am young old, right? Kind of in that liminal space where I could still have kids, be like 64 by the time they were 20. But also, I still have all of this energy. I still have all of this mobility in my body. I have this passion and this curiosity and this hunger for the human experience and being with my more than human family members. And it's just like the sweetest time. Being able to see evidence that I have existed as a human, written upon the skin and bone of this body, is truly a stupendous and remarkable thing. It's also a little horrifying, contemplating your mortality, because no matter how many times we've done that within the philosophical framework and realistic framework of our belief structure, whether it's like one and done and then up to heaven, or around the karmic wheel many, many, many times, or reincarnation, it's something that we all have to cross, and it's like kind of an unknown adventure every single time. And so, old, young, old, out here in this beautiful forest, in this beautiful sanctuary. And funny enough, now that I think of it, today is actually Saturday, which in the tradition that I was brought up in is the holy day, is the sacred day that my parents would bring us out into the forest after church, after our good solid indoctrination session that was also community and also food and also oriented to build in this sense of wonder at something larger than oneself. They would bring us out into the forest and we would wander and we would explore, and I am so grateful for that because it has inculcated such a love in me for these more than human spaces. And when I can see the viejo, the old, and the super young in this family, in this community, it feels so right. It feels so natural. This is how we are meant to live. And this is where our medicine is as humans and as more than humans. And there are so many thresholds here. There's the falling away right here. That was a tree. That was a huge tree, actually, right there. But only now is kind of the dust still visible of it. And right behind it, cedar and Douglas fir growing up through their soil. And it's so peaceful. It's not nonviolent. It's just everything knows its place. And everything is doing its thing. Oh, look, woodpecker central. That's like a woodpecker condo. They're like the dead ones. So I have recently come to the realization that the first part of my life, the first third, however long I'm going to be here, first 44 years anyway, have been all about exploring the territory of the external world, right? Traveled all over. I have learned, acquired degrees, had many relationships with my various partners in my body with different imbalances that we call many different things, like cancer or congestive heart failure or food intolerances, whatever you want to call it. But I've had all these experiences in the macrocosm. And as I am currently in process with a huge transition, yet again, another threshold to cross, another liminal space to navigate. I stop when I hear things or I feel things. The light's different here. Can you see? The tree canopy is thinner and our orientation has shifted. So we were going I think we're south facing now. And so back to the first 44 years, they've been all about gathering these experiences and crossing these thresholds and having these initiations, and all of them have been pointing me back towards the work that I am ultimately here to do, which I have been doing all the way along, but more consciously now within a more defined framework. My realization when I was 16 that woke me up out of a dead sleep was that I'm here to help people remember who they really are and how magnificent and magical they are. And in order to do that, of course, I have to remember myself, home. You can't lead people where you haven't been yourself, or you can't guide people where you have not tread. And so I have just had so very many experiences in this life. There's literally nothing that surprises me. There are things that just like fill me with wonder and curiosity, but life is diverse, and I have experienced a lot of that diversity. And so now it's time for me to get one more degree and to become a therapist out here. This is my office. And I am not telling people anything. I am merely holding space for them and a mirror for them to remember their way back home, even as I continue that process myself. And I'm really excited to see where that adventure leads, because I feel like it's nothing new. Plenty of traditions out there that talk about that reflexive turning inward as you spend more time in the body. Confucianism, Taoism, Confucianism excuse me, during your householder years and Taoism. In your older years, I'm still solidly in my householder years. Make no mistake, I have a 10-year-old, and I am moving into a dissolution of my marriage. And so, there are tangible realities that I need to attend to. And this beautiful thread, oh my God, and it's raining too. Oh, just listen. The roar of the creek. The gentle touch of the raindrops. Hello, sunshine. We can't go back. We gotta go forward. We can't go back. Just forward. Just forward. Even if it's at a crawl, it's okay. You just keep experiencing this adventure, and I am here to walk beside you. So, welcome me to this new old work that I have been doing for many lifetimes, I'm sure. And I can't wait to see you and bring you out here with me and with all of our teachers and our healers and our friends and our family members. Let's talk soon.